Hi, I'm Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV, and we are here today with Daniel Gutierrez. Hi Daniel, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's a big pleasure for us to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So the first question I would like to ask you is, what is that thing that you are most passionate about?
For me, it's about really seeing positive and dramatic change in a person. That they find the essence of who they are and what they are in the present moment, because that's really all we have is what's in the now, right here, and helping people realize that there is no power on the right or the left or future or the past, just right in the present moment.
Being your passion, I guess that then seeing people being able to reach that point makes you happy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And sometimes it takes time, because we have this thing called our humanness, and our humanness is tied to ego. It's tied to the past, the present. It's tied to fear. It's tied to doubt, disbelief, and so working through those things gets a person in the present moment, where it really is the only place that we have power.
And how did you get to that place where you wanted to do that?
Wow, it's a long story.
We have time, Daniel.
It's a long story. I started out at the age of 17 as a licensed Baptist minister in Texas.
Look at that.
Yeah, right? You're probably going, wow, you didn't know that. And so that was the beginning of my journey way long time ago. And throughout life, I have been eager, and I've studied Buddhism, and I've studied, so at the age of 17, I was a licensed Baptist minister, and that shocks everybody because most people don't know that. And that begun my journey along this pathway to find where we have the most power at. Where is it that we can manifest? Where is it that we can realize our really truest passions and dreams? And throughout my life, I've studied Buddhism, I've studied Confucianism, Taoism, you name it. I've just dove into all these different religions and ways of life. And that really has been my training ground, is from traveling all the way to the Himalayas to work with the Buddhists, to Peru to work with the shamans. It really captivated me to find out where is it that we truly have the most power. And that's what brought me to this place today, where I will never say I have all the answers, but I have the answers that work for me, and I try to show people how they can find those answers for themselves. I don't consider myself some master anything except a guide. I consider us a guide. I can walk you through a dark forest and light the path for you until you can see the path for yourself and light that path for others.
There's many questions racing right now. So, dark force. Let's talk about the dark force.
Sure.
How do you identify and find the dark force inside someone's?
Well, Angel, there is a duality in life. There is light and dark. I mean, a lot of people don't want to accept the fact that there is both. There is both, and we're always walking that fine line. I think in order to find the darkness and the light, we must first get into unconditional acceptance. And unconditional means unconditional. That means not conditioned on anything, not predicated on anything. It's absolutely unconditional acceptance, and understanding the present moment, whatever's showing up, whether it's you're a thief or whether you're whatever, that is what it is. And when we find that level of acceptance and make peace with the dark, like I often tell my son, he's 16, mijo, I have made peace with life and death. And so if something happens to me, it's okay. It's okay. Because I recognize that without making peace and having that unconditional acceptance, then I am creating the very thing that I fear. So that's kind of the way I see that. Is that accepting that all of us, and maybe it's not, doing something horrific, but there's just even it's taking a pen from work or whatever. That is part of that dark side that exists in all of us, which I think keeps people on the straight and narrow a lot of times. And then sometimes they can't help it. It just draws them into that space.
How do you attract people? What kind of people do you typically attract to work with this matter?
I think for me, believe it or not, I didn't set out to work with women. I didn't say, I want to have women as people I work with. But 95% of my clients are women from all over the world. And so I work with women between the age of 35 and 70 who are in transition, either through divorce or changing jobs or, what do I do next? They have businesses that they need help with. And so, and they travel with me. This is the good thing, is that, I take people on spiritual journeys around the world. And so these are the people, and I believe it's because a woman is more open and more willing to challenge herself than a man is. And I'm not saying anything against men. I'm just saying that that's usually the case for me, and I think why I have such a large following of women that follow my work.
And do you think there's a reason why you are attracting mostly women?
Well, I think a lot of it, there's two things. One, I'm very connected to my feminine side. I'm very connected with that, and I'm okay with it. Hence, I've got this big old amethyst necklace on, right? And I also believe that women are looking for someone who can be straight, blunt, and loving all at the same time. And I feel like I offer that, is that I'm not an easy coach. I'm not an easy person to work with, but I'm fair and I'm loving. And I can, in a loving way, say, don't do that, but firm. And I think that they need that guidance.
And what is that thing that keeps you up at night, Daniel?
Nothing keeps me up at night. I don't know that I sleep well.
Oh, that's perfect.
I think in the past, I mean, there were a lot of things, but really, to be in true acceptance, to be radically mindful in the moment, is to be in acceptance of whatever is, whatever's showing up in my life, whether it's, oh, the client didn't pay, or there's not enough money. There's nothing that I'm going to be able to do about that in my sleep. So why not enjoy my sleep, and then I can tackle that the next day. So I really don't stay up at night thinking about those things.
Excellent. You just came back from one of your trips to Amazonia.
Yeah.
Could you share with us maybe a couple of circumstances in which you really were afraid of something, and another one in which you were extremely, extremely happy?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I posted on social media right after I got out of the Amazon, a picture of me with a big boa on a big boa constrictor. He was big and heavy, and he was only like 6 months old. I kept going, "Did you feed it? Did you feed it?" I mean, because I was really nervous. So they put him on my neck. Now, the landscape is the Amazon, right? This is not a zoo. This is the Amazon. So they put the snake on my neck, and I could feel the strength of his power, and I was nervous, because although I thought I had control, the snake had control. I mean, because all it had to do was wrap around my neck, and it'd be all over. But that was a moment that I was a little fearful, but yet at the same time relaxing into the moment. And someone said to me, "Why did you do that? You're crazy. Why?" I said, "Why not? I'm in the Amazon." And, I'm sure they wouldn't have put that on my neck if they thought it was going to kill me, right? So it was an opportunity. So I accepted that moment and just said, I want to take this opportunity to get this wonderful video and photo of me in the Amazon with an anaconda around my neck. So that was a moment that I think I was fearful. And what was the other question?
Happy, extreme happiness.
Oh, yes. There's one experience that I also recently have talked about. Every night, there was torrential rains. It would just, I've never seen rain like that. Just heavy, heavy rain. At the end of this last month was a full moon. And that was the second full moon of this month. So it was a powerful full moon. So it's raining. I mean, raining. And we're out there. I took a shower. I went out, got my soap, took a shower in the rain. And I had laid down in my hammock. And about an hour after the rains, it cleared up. And the full moon came out. Oh, it was the most beautiful. So I took a shower in the rain, and I took a shower in the moonlight, and it was beautiful. I went outside, and I couldn't believe how powerful that moon was, and to be in the Amazon jungle and taking in all that beauty and taking in all that energy, it was just amazing. It was an amazing opportunity. So that brought me great joy, and I've shared that recently with my followers and said, this is an amazing opportunity that, maybe that moon, I think it's 23 years before it comes back around. So very, very interesting and very. So the Amazon has a lot to offer. There's always the possibility that a spider, a little spider like that, or a frog like that, can kill you, and so you're always on the edge, walking on the edge in the Amazon. But it's a beautiful experience. I would encourage anyone that can deal with mosquitoes to go.
How do you think that this permanent contact with nature, that dramatic contact with nature, helps you in your daily coaching practice?
Well, what we experience in the Amazon, again, going back to what I shared earlier about the darkness and the light, is that duality of life. That as there are things that were in the Amazon that could kill me, literally, even the mosquitoes, there were also many things that brought me great joy and great power. And I think when we're not focused in the moment, and we focus on those things that scare us, those things that that we worry about. What we think about comes into existence. It's manifested into the moment. And so the more I could stay focused on the joy, the wonderful plants, the wildlife, everything that the jungle had to offer, the less I was bringing the darkness into existence. So I stayed very focused on being radically mindful that it did exist. Mind you, I wasn't ignoring it, but I wasn't playing in it either. I wasn't laying in, as you would say, laying in a hammock going, what's that? What's that noise? Because there's jaguars out there. There's all kinds of things out there. But that ability to recognize what is, that it is there, and then stay focused in the great things that I enjoy. I mean, how many people spend 10 days in the middle of the jungle? I mean, we're westernized. We're used to look, carpet, and there's no carpet out there. It's crazy. I mean, there's no electricity, no house, no bathroom, no refrigerator, no phone, nothing. What a joy. What a joy. I even took off my watch, said, I didn't know what day it was. So it's time to go. It was beautiful. Yeah, but that exists in life. And so when I'm coaching people, I try to get them, again, to focus on the now. Let's get focused on what you can do, not be paralyzed by what you can't do. I don't have power over the things I have no power over, but I have power in this moment. And that's the message that I have today and through my work is, okay, so a client will call, oh, it's the 5th of the month. I'm scared I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage and my business. Today's the 5th. When's your rent due? On the 2nd of next month. That's a long time from now. Why don't we focus on now, doing the things you need to do to not be in that position? And if you can't pay your rent on the 5th next month, I'll cry with you.
Literally, you tell them that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but there's nothing to worry about right now. I'll cry with you. Come on, let's go.
What do you think, what would be one option to take your coaching practice like on a large level? Like, I'm sure that you have thought about it. So what do you think that you could be doing in order to be able to impact,
more people?
More people, many more people besides your one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, you know what? I love doing interviews like this. I think I haven't been very active as I have been before doing interviews. And I think doing more interviews and more exposure and maybe even developing a product that would help people that either don't have the means or don't want to take the time to do the one-on-one coaching, which I am working on.
Excellent. I know that you have worked with corporations, for a long time, and it might sound a little bit strange, right? I mean, business, seriousness, stress, and revenues, and bottom line, and top line, and spirituality, right? Yeah. So, I think it's a very interesting. It would be very interesting for Mindalia TV viewers to know exactly what you have been doing in this field and what do you think it's going to take the business world if we incorporated the spirituality at some point?
Well, they're embracing it more and more. I work with Wall Street. I work with companies like Mercedes-Benz, BNY Mellon Bank. I have big clients. And they're coming. The reason why they're interested in mindfulness, I call myself a mindful leadership expert, is because there is a direct correlation to a productivity and there's a direct correlation to mindfulness, and they work together. In the United States, $359 billion are wasted every year because an employee is not productive, not sick, not productive. So that means 1 month out of the entire year, employees are wasting their time. Now, that's a lot of money for corporations, right? So if we can get them to be mindful in the moment, be more focused on their work, they're going to be more productive. What does that do? That changes the bottom line. That makes more money for Wall Street. That makes more money for the shareholders, and makes more money for the board of directors. So it's all how you speak to them about it, right? If you come in there, they're like, no, I don't want to do none of that. But if you make a case for why it's important, not only that, the world is becoming more and more stressful every day. Every day is becoming more stressful. We need to find ways, and I think people are looking for ways to get centered, to have more peace of mind, to have a meaningful life. And again, going back to what I've been saying in the whole interview, is that you have to get back to the present moment. I teach my corporate folks, if they can just breathe for 60 seconds, their life will change. Just 60 seconds. You don't have to do all that stuff. Just 60 seconds. If you can take 60 seconds, you might give yourself 120. And then you might give yourself 180. And then there you begin to develop a practice. And when you develop a practice of mindfulness, then that creates the opportunity to be a better leader in corporate, a better manager, a better CEO, a better whatever, because you're making decisions from a very centered place. And so because of that, I believe that corporate is embracing that. They're embracing the idea that yeah, why not? And besides that, the millennials are coming up and saying, if you don't offer this to me, yoga, meditation, I don't want to work for you. That creates a problem, because we need those millennials in the workplace as the rest of us are getting older and retiring, you know?
Would you say that the leaders of those organizations that feel attracted to work with you have something in common?
I do. I think that privately they have their own practice somewhere. They you know, I actually was asked a question. I was doing an event in Manhattan for 1,500 executives, and someone raised their hand, asked a question, said, why is it that corporate America or corporate is scared of mindfulness? Why are they scared of spirituality? And I had to be really careful how I answered that question, but then I thought, nah, I'm not going to be careful. I'm just going to tell them. So here it is. I said, if the bottom line can be impacted by allowing your employees to have yoga, meditation, quiet time, music, whatever it is, and I am out telling everyone that that's true, and based on the studies that back that up, we're talking about a lot of money, right? If you are the manager that's between the investors and the bottom line, who do you think they're going to get rid of? And everybody was quiet. I said, you. So basically, if you don't allow this type of interaction and mindfulness in the workplace, and you are in between the money and the corporation, you're outdated. You're outdated, and you will be eventually eliminated. And they just looked at me like, you know, I said, but that's the truth. We are evolving as a world. We're evolving as a business society, and it will get there. And again, to get back to the question you asked, that individual has a level of spirituality, a level of understanding, consciousness, awakeness, that they're willing to take a chance. And I think that that's why we're seeing corporations embrace it.
Excellent. I would like to finalize this conversation with you today, Daniel, asking you a question. And I would like you to give a piece of advice to our audience, our millions of viewers that we have at Mindalia TV. It would be incredibly awesome if you could just share with them, give them a piece of advice that you think would help them in their lives.
Wow. It's very simple. It's very simple. Stay in the now. Do not get distracted. Do not get distracted by the things that happen in life. Life happens. Like the ocean is not the ocean without waves. Life is not life without problems. We all have them. But those that are able to focus in the moment, to stay centered in the moment, to stay connected in the moment, the divine, God, whatever you choose to call it, is only here in the right now. When we connect to that, because of our human need and desire to connect, we have so much power. We have the ability to do something that most people don't do, and that's act. To do something in spite of what's going on. To do something that is different from what's happening on the inside. And it could be as easy as calling that next client, calling that lover, calling that mother, calling that father, and just acting in the now. And when we do that, we change our lives instantly. It's not later, it's now, because that's where our power's at. So I want to encourage you to, when you feel frazzled, when you feel like you're out of control, that life is unattainable, you're living in either the past or the future. You're not living in the now, because in the now is where all your power's at. And if you stay there, and you act from there, and you practice radical mindfulness, and you practice unconditional acceptance, life changes not later, it changes instantly.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you here today.
You.
Again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV, and thank you very much for being with us today.